like a turbo booster.
I love this when we have old friends on the show. I have known Kenny for probably 20 years. Forever. And it's always great to see you. We don't get to see each other that often anymore.
Maybe once a year when we have an event come up,
Right.
you come and support and show up, and it's very nice.
Well, when I get to go down to La Parada and eat some awesome food, see
Yes.
some great, actually buy some awesome art every year.
Yeah.
And this is the 17th annual, 25th annual?
The 9th annual show.
9th annual.
7 years at La Parada now.
And La Parada is in the North Valley, and it's one of the coolest little spots. It's where the Farm and Table restaurant is.
Exactly.
And these guys take over the whole parking lot and then some.
Yeah.
And the farm and the store
Yeah.
and everything.
We take
And
over the whole
you fill
property.
it up. There's some pictures of it. And it is so much fun. Everybody comes out, and there's folk art, there's dancing, there's music, there's awesome food. It is a great, fun day. And this year it's on the 2nd, the Dos de Mayo.
2 de Mayo, yes.
And it's a chance to bring all of the folk art folks to get together.
Yes.
Yeah, we had Goldie Garcia on the other day.
Yes,
She's
thank
one
you
of the
so much.
artists.
She was here promoting the show and her art. Yes.
Right, she's always just fun to have
Yeah,
on anyway.
she's a great
stand-up comedian, Goldie Garcia. And then you brought some of the stuff that's going to be at the show. You didn't make all of these, did you?
I made the bottle cap snake here. So I'm a recycle artist, and I make these 6-foot-long bottle cap snakes.
And
These bottle caps came from my cousin, Freddie Sandoval. He drinks one kind of beer, and thank you, Freddie, for the bottle caps on this.
Do you give him a quota? You're like, okay, Freddie, I need to make a 6-foot-long snake.
Give me your bottle caps. You know?
But do you have to tell him I need 400 bottle caps by Friday? So get to drinking.
Got some other artwork here by Susanna Baca, beautiful mosaic artist. She does all kinds of wonderful mosaic art.
And this is mosaic tile
Mosaic
and
tile.
marbles and everything.
Yeah,
in that.
she incorporates
that's
all
really
kinds of
intense.
stuff into her art. She's been with us since the first Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, good.
And this is Michelle Montano. She's she paints on tiles. This is a Muerta doing her chili roasting. And Michelle has been with us since the very first show we've ever done.
That's very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Well, take me back then, 9 years ago. How did you guys start this?
Well, let's see. Cherie approached me. Cherie Montoya, she owns Farm and Table, and her mother, Pam Montoya, owns La Parada Mercantile. And Kenny, would you like to move your show over to our property?
Well, take me back even before that, Kenny. Like, you guys were doing this. You had it at a couple other spots before.
Yeah, a couple of
even
other
La
spots.
Parada.
We started in our backyard in Nob Hill for the first 2 years.
Right.
And
And
then-
that was the thing. It grew out of, I think, some of the other folk art shows, the folk art movement that was really blossoming about 10
Yes,
years
a lot
ago,
of
right?
new events are coming up through folk art venues. The Corky Frausto Cork Fest. Steve White has a venue down his house. And Celeste Medina has an event at her house as well. So we got 4 artists doing all kinds of neat folk art shows.
And this was a chance for you guys to say, hey, let's bring everybody together into one really big one, right?
Well, a lot of these artists don't have a showcase. You know, they don't have a place to be in a gallery or anything, so they can be with us. And on the other spectrum, we have award-winning Spanish artists, Spanish market artists joining us this year for the first
cool.
time.
Very cool. So how did you meet all the other folk artists? How did this scene
In and
kind
out
of
the
evolve?
art circles. I am in contemporary Hispanic market, and I've been there for 14 years. A lot of my artists are coming from there as well.
And you've worked in art galleries in Nob Hill for
I
years.
work at Masks y Mas, a wonderful gallery. I've been there for 5 years now.
Already 5 years? It seems like just the other day you and Kiko
No,
joined forces.
It's been a while now. And our gallery grows every year. Nice new art coming in. We have we represent a little over 90 Albuquerque artists and a few from out of the city.
And it's some of it's Dia de los Muertos stuff, and
Sometimes it's focused on that, but definitely cultura stuff. You know, we rely on Frida Kahlo and you know, prison art and you know, just all kinds of interesting artwork.
yeah. And your art, how did you come to making your stuff? Because I think when I first met you, you had what I thought of as the contemporary store in Nob Hill.
Yeah.
You had the old, what was it, In Crowd?
In Crowd, yes, sir.
And it was the store that had the funky sunglasses, and it had the
Dr. Martin shoes and boots.
the original Dr. Martin's like place at Albuquerque,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
before they were everywhere.
Okay, so back in the early 90s, I went to a market in New York and I saw this Day of the Dead stuff in New York City. And I was like, well, what is this? And this is Day of the Dead. And I'm like, okay, I want to start selling this in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
And it falls on November 2nd, which is my birthday. And I have no idea,
Really?
growing up in New Mexico, what Day of the Dead was all about. This is back in the early 90s. And here it is, 2050. Day of the Dead is taking on
Right.
a whole pair of new legs on its own.
Right.
And so that's how I introduced Day of the Dead into Nob Hill back in the early 90s. And anyway, Masks y Mas took over my
But how
spot.
did you go from introducing Day of the Dead and finding that and to to the store and then making your own art. How did you make
Well,
that transition?
when I had my store, I was incorporating a lot of artists into the store. And I was bored in my store maybe, and I was like, I want to make something. So I pulled up old wood and old rusty pieces, and I started making crosses. And I made a lot of them. And I hung them in my store, and they started selling. People liked
And they
them.
were cool crosses because they had barbed wire on them and bottle caps on them and just stuff you would find in
And
the back alley, right?
I had fellow artists like Goldie Garcia, Cynthia Cook, telling me, Kenny, you need to get into Spanish market, you know. And I tried it, and I got in my first year, and I've been in every year since then.
That's pretty cool.
So women like these inspire me in my art, you know, to get going and keep creating.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Well, I know a couple of your pieces. I own one of your wooden pieces that says, Mi casa es mi casa. And I think that's one you're known for.
Oh
I
my
think people
gosh,
know
that's
that,
a great
right?
story. I was at market in Santa Fe, and I was making signs, mi casa es su casa, very, you know.
Right.
And
Traditional
this guy
Spanish saying.
comes by, this vato, and he's like, hey man, that's cool. You know what it used to say? It used to say, mi casa es mi casa. And everybody in the booth laughed, and I'm like, oh my God, what a great idea, you know? So that's where that came from.
Oh, really? 'Cause I've got one of those pieces. I've also got an old, you made a Cassius Clay piece that I
Yes,
know.
yeah.
The Muhammad Ali Cassius Clay piece. I've got that.
Gosh, I've made so many, you know.
Right.
You know, I do over 300 art pieces a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's on a slow year.
that's on a slow year.
Right. So when we're thinking about stuff like this bottle cap thing, I mean, when we go to the show this weekend, I mean, is this an expensive piece, inexpensive piece? Is that like $300 million? Or?
No, it's only $80 for this.
80
stuff.
bucks, okay.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things you try to do with a lot of the art at the Cinco de Mayo show is keep it affordable.
Yes, there's price ranges from a couple of bucks all the way to the hundreds, I'm sure, from a lot of these. We have 35 artists. A lot of them are coming back with us. We have 12 new artists joining us this year. Some are coming as far away as Las Cruces.
Oh, very cool.
Pamela Enriquez Quartz.
Is there a different folk art scene in Las Cruces? Is it something that you can
I'm
spot
not
it and
sure.
say?
Honestly, I don't know what's going on in Las Cruces. I know Pamela Enriquez Quartz is going on in Las Cruces. And I hear things through her on Facebook about what's going on in Mesilla.
Yeah.
But and they're one of the first communities that started Day of the Dead in New Mexico. They've been doing a parade for a while, you know.
That sounds good.
I'm glad she's joining us for our show for a second time. She's been with us. So.
Cool. So tell me real quickly about the Wild Fiesta Sombrero contest.
Okay, every year we do a contest, and this year we decided to do a wild sombrero contest, so people can come and show up at 1:45, I believe the time is.
Okay.
And and it's all audience participation. The person that gets the loudest claps wins.
So
the
do we have
prize.
to come with a giant hat decorated
I
to
mean,
the nines?
believe me, we get across the board. People come with, you know, pets on their hats. I mean, we've done different contests through the years, but we'll see what shows up. It's all
Excellent.
artistic, you know. You see
Excellent.
a lot of creativity.
I love it. Well, make you a deal. If you bring the winning sombrero in on Monday morning, I will wear it.
Wow. Okay.
Or maybe for Cinco de Mayo, I will wear it. That would be fun to wear. Can we like frame that up on the cameras? Can I wear a big sombrero here? We'll have to figure out a way to make that happen, but I will do it. I would do that on Cinco de Mayo.
Thank you.
And Kenny, your art show, it's Saturday? What are the hours?
Saturday, we're doing the show from 9 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we have La Parada store opening up at 10 o'clock as well. She's got some incredible merchandise at her store, newly brought in for the show.
Great food, we got musicians, we got...
And I want to talk a little bit about the food here. Farm and Table is going to be open from 10 a.m. to 2 with their regular brunch menu for the first time.
Because normally we get breakfast burritos.
Yeah, she does a whole fiesta thing out in the patio, and she'll be doing that as well. And that'll be open at 10 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon.
Perfect. We'll be back in a couple of seconds on the Morning Brew. We got our buddies from Albuquerque the Magazine here. Adam and Tom are going to talk about the latest issue of Albuquerque the Magazine. And speaking of food, I think there's some food in it.
Yes. Great
Awesome.
plates.
We're back in a couple of seconds on the Morning Brew with friends.